I think the most interesting story coming out of this weekend happened on Sunday. Indiana, despite playing without Xavier Johnson, despite having a limited Race Thompson, has now won 3 in a row. They beat Wisconsin. They beat Illinois. On Sunday, they beat Michigan State by 13. Trayce Jackson-Davis, over the course of the last 6 games in 2023, is averaging 24.5 points, 13.3 boards, 4.7 assists, and 3.7 blocks. All of a sudden, Indiana is back, top 10 in KenPom. And in those 6 games, in that 6-game stretch, they lost their first 3, gave up 260 points in those 3 losses. Their last 3 games, they gave up 179 points in the 3 wins. T.O., you guys talked about this on After Dark last night. Is Indiana back?
I don't know the word back. Did they ever really leave? That I know they had some issues and everything like that. As far as point guard play was a question, all that. But if Trayce Jackson-Davis is as good as what he's been over the last few days, I know you have that 6-game stat lineup, Rob. Like, he was incredibly dominant, like in so many different ways. And guys, he's got to have the strongest hands. I said in the Big Ten last night, and I started to think about it. I'm not sure there's a guy in the country with stronger hands. Maybe Sheboy, but Sheboy doesn't have soft hands to where he catches stuff naturally. Trayce Jackson-Davis, like, he grabs rebounds just out of people's hands because he feels like it. Like, there was a rebound yesterday. Joey Hauser's going up for a rebound. Trayce just like, nope, that's mine. I'll take that one. And then just goes back up with an offensive rebound. And to be honest with you, he might be the best lob catcher in the past 15, 20 years. And that's a lot of people included. And the reason I'm saying that is because of the angles from where he catches these lobs. Like, he'll be running at the goal. He'll be running at the rim. They will throw it over his head. He will still find a way in transition to catch the ball and dunk it while catching it here and then turning around and dunking it there. It's one of the most remarkable abilities I've seen from somebody like that. And it's consistent. He's got the softest hands, the strongest hands. And like, his ability to finish those possessions is remarkable. And you can't stop him right now. He's boarding everything. He's scoring everything. They say don't let him go left.
Exactly what he's going to do. You know exactly what he's going to do. He's going to his left hand. And you can't stop him.
You know what the crazy part is? The crazy part about that is sometimes you're so worried about a guy doing a certain thing that, like, you overplay that so much that it becomes an advantage to use that hand. Does that make sense? Like, somebody leads you left, but like, you want to go right, but they open up completely. And if you attack that top foot, you can forget it. Like, you're going right. It's the same kind of principle. Like, it's almost baffling that he's still able to get to that left hand.
Well, I have a couple of thoughts on this.
Oh boy.
Number one.
I'm buckling up.
Oscar Sheboy, 22-18. Drew Timme, 22-13. Dane Danger, 20-7. Zach Edey told me in a post-game interview last Monday, I could have scored 40 today. And we know what he did against Michigan State. So, I believe that you're right, Rob. Indiana is back. However, they beat a team that is the biggest mystery in college basketball in Illinois. I don't know what we're getting from day to day from them. And they beat a Michigan State team that, frankly, has allowed opposing bigs to dominate them all season long. Michigan State has been bad. And Tom Izzo would tell you they've been bad. They've been bad against opposing centers. We knew that this would be their weakness, and it has been their weakness. To me, though, Indiana being back hinges on 2 things that are not Trayce Jackson-Davis. Number one, they're defending. Their defense was horrible earlier in conference play. Last year, they finished the season as the top KenPom team out of the Big Ten in defense, in defensive efficiency. The other thing is, you look at what they did against Michigan State, but you look at what they did against Illinois, what they've done recently. With Xavier Johnson out, Trey Galloway has to be better. He has to deliver something for them, even if it's not scoring. But on Sunday, he goes for 17 points, a perfect 3 for 3 from three. Indiana's one of those teams in college basketball, when they hit a three and they're guarding, it feels like 5 or 6. That's what a three feels like when you're playing them. And the other one is Tamar Bates.
Yep.
Tamar Bates was listed all throughout October as breakout candidate. He's going to come on. He's going to be an X factor. There are games where Tamar Bates is pretty quiet. On Sunday, he was loud. And Indiana needs Tamar Bates to continue to play a role for this team. He has to be the sixth man for Indiana. They don't have a big bench. They don't have this huge rotation. It's been cut down because of injuries. But for Indiana, if you're going to lose Trayce Thompson and you're going to lose Xavier Johnson, you've got to have some perimeter play. And on Sunday, Galloway and Bates supplied it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Having guys that can make shots when you have Trayce Jackson-Davis in the middle, that opens up space. Like we all know that. I got a stat for you though, because to me it's the defense, right? The defense changed everything. Like I said, they gave up 260 points in those 3 losses that they had. They've given up 179 points in this 3-game winning streak. They're averaging under 60 points allowed. And here's the biggest stat. So on BartTorvik.com, pull out your Torvik, right?
Pull out your Torvik.
Pull out your Torvik. You can look at efficiency stats, break down by like certain date ranges. And during this 3-game winning streak, their defensive efficiency rating is 87.4. You extrapolate that out across the entire season, that's 6th nationally. That changes everything. Everything when you can actually get stops. Because they're never going to be a great offensive team, but you can be a good enough offensive team if you are good defensively and you have Trayce Jackson-Davis. Like, you can find a way to win a lot of basketball games in the Big Ten. So that's just kind of, and you know what? Now
is this a case where numbers are deceiving? Because Indiana is, according to Kim Palm's, number 20 offense in the country. Is this a case where numbers are deceiving?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that has to do with beating up on some lesser teams. And it's also the games where they gave up 260 points, like they were in those games. So they were getting out and they were running, they were scoring some points. And like Fana said, they got guys that are making shots a little bit now. It's not just Miller Kopp out there trying to space the floor. And like we gotta give him a shout out. Jalen Hood-Schifino was not great on Sunday, but he was great for like the last 8 or 9 games heading into Sunday. So having him kind of step into the role vacated by Xavier Johnson. I mean, look, I'll tell you this. I'm kind of at the point where if Xavier Johnson can come back healthy by March, like all of a sudden you're looking at an Indiana team that can be really dangerous with a bunch of shooters, 2 combo guards, and Trayce Jackson-Davis. Like, that's their guard. That's not a team you want to face.